Hey, injuries are going to happen. It's just a part of football. But there was a few big-name injuries there in 2018 that we need to keep an eye on here in 2019. What is going on, everybody? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's having a great week out there. And here we are, talking fantasy football 2019 now. Looking forward to it. Glad to get back in the swing of things. I've been doing a lot of shows with Kyle, which has been great. But it's time for me to get back into a little bit of these solo shows, some of these quick-hitting shows that I know you guys love to watch. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about a few big-name players, and you already see them listed there on the side of your screen. They were injured majority, if not all, of 2018. But we really need to pay attention to them here in the offseason, and maybe there's somebody that we should target in our teams this year for the 2019 fantasy football season. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into these names because we ain't wasting no time today. All right, first guy we're talking about, Jimmy Garoppolo of the San Francisco 49ers. We didn't get to see a whole lot of Jimmy G last year, but he could be coming back into a very, very good situation. If you've had a pulse, if you have a TV, a radio, carrier pigeon, whatever it is, you've probably heard recently that Antonio Brown is not happy in Pittsburgh, and one of the teams rumored to possibly land him, the San Francisco 49ers. You pair him with an emerging Dante Pettis, who we saw at the end of last season, the return of a player which we'll talk about here in a second, Jerick McKinnon. This could be a very, very exciting offense really quick. He did tear his ACL last year. All signs are pointing to him being ready for OTAs this year. But listen, this is an offense that can put up big numbers. It was kind of a carousel of quarterbacks, if you will, last year between Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard, and then what we did see of Jimmy G. But the combined totals for those three quarterbacks, 4,247 yards, 26 touchdowns. I think we'd be pretty happy with Jimmy G putting up those numbers. Also, as a bonus, he's going to fall later in drafts because there's so much depth at the quarterback position. He kind of gives you that option to wait on quarterback, wait to the later rounds. You possibly have yourself a solid low-end QB1 that you get, mid to late rounds that you don't have to waste some of that high draft capital on draft day. All right, next guy on the list, we've already kind of mentioned him. It's Jerick McKinnon, running back of the San Francisco 49ers. Also recovering from a torn ACL, because apparently in San Francisco, that's the cool thing to do these days. But a lot of people are already hopping off the bandwagon of Jerick McKinnon, and I don't really understand completely why. Yes, I get it. Matt Breida had a very solid season and will still be in the mix come next season, but they spent a ton of money on Jerick McKinnon. Did they overspend? Probably. But nonetheless, they spent it. He is the 6th highest paid running back in all of football. But similar to the revolving door of quarterbacks they had there, they also had the revolving door of running backs. You had Matt Breida, Alfred Morris, Raheem, I'm not quite a must-start Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., the guy who probably did your taxes for you already this year, and Kyle Juszczyk. Combined, they had 1,796 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns, added in another 781 yards through the air, and another 3 touchdowns. Don't forget, this Kyle Shanahan offense is the same offense that made Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman both productive. I'm not hopping off the bandwagon just yet. Jerick McKinnon is somebody, especially in PPR leagues, could have some added value in the mid-rounds because people are just hopping off way too fast. Monitor him here in the offseason. As long as he is full go, 100%, I expect him to have a sneaky good Tariq Cohen-esque, maybe even type season here in 2019. Next up on the list is going to be Darius Slay of the Washington Redskins, somebody I'm really excited to see more of this season. The kid was arguably the best running back in the draft, not named Saquon Barkley last year, and we really didn't get to see a whole lot of him. Torn ACL in the first preseason game. Why? Because all the cool kids tear their ACLs apparently. But he's going into a situation with a lot of question marks, right? The Washington Redskins are not exactly built to go out there and just supply 1,000, 1,200-yard rusher, right? Alex Smith literally has maybe 612 pieces of steel in his leg right now, and I'm almost not exaggerating. The thing looks like the thing from Hellraiser coming out of his leg. It's horrible. bad injury. Hopefully he can recover from that, but that's still a huge question mark. The offensive line is a question mark. Their offensive weapons as a whole is a question mark. Are there going to be enough wide receivers and enough talent to pull the defense out of the box? It's something we need to pay attention to here in the offseason. If he's healthy, if he's good to go, if Adrian Peterson does not re-sign with the Washington Redskins, that leaves more opportunities for Darius Geis. He's capable of being a 3-down back. He's a workhorse back if he's healthy. And given a decent chance in Washington, he's somebody that you could kind of somewhat get on a steal draft day. Now, his ADP, it's still way early, right? It's February. His ADP is still in the second round. That could change the closer we get to the draft. Pay attention to it. I'm sure we'll be talking about it more because Darius Geis is an elite talent, a possible low-end RB1 that you could probably get maybe third, fourth round come draft time, just depending on the news that comes out beforehand. All right, next up, Devonta Freeman of the Atlanta Falcons, somebody who we didn't get to see a whole lot of last year, had multiple injuries, multiple issues, ended up going on IR for foot and man junk, aka the groin region, had all kinds of issues last year, and the Falcons as a whole weren't very productive from the running game. But now, does Tevin Coleman leave? He's a free agent. Does he sign elsewhere? Do they re-sign Tevin Coleman? Ito Smith, which is just an Ito bit of a problem because he didn't do a whole lot. I didn't see enough from Ito Smith to say, man, he's taken away half the work from Devonta Freeman. Not going to happen. This guy is the third highest paid running back in football. The owner of the Falcons has already come out and said he's a key piece of this franchise going forward. We need him to be successful. Well, he's coming back into a team where he could possibly be, fantasy-wise, a high-end RB2 here in 2019, just due to his pass-catching upside and really the inabilities that we saw from Ito Smith. I do expect him to still be a part of the mix, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make Freeman, somebody I don't want to target. As of right now, he's somebody who could fall all the way down to the third round in fantasy football drafts. We need to pay attention to it. Looks like he's going to be good to go. He could be a steal for you come fantasy draft season. Just somebody, another one of these names we need to pay attention to here in the offseason. All right, next up, Hunter Henry. And all the Stephen A's of the world can finally rejoice because we can talk about Hunter Henry and actually make some sense. The guy should be good to go. Also coming off a torn ACL, which he injured first day of OTAs last season. It's been a long time. He should be good to go. He came back there in the playoffs, didn't do a whole lot, but at least he was good enough to get back into game action. Now, does Antonio Gates retire? Does he finally ride off into the sunset on his 84th birthday? However old Antonio Gates is, does he stick around or not? That's something we need to follow here in the offseason. Also, Tyrell Williams could be leaving town as a free agent. This is just opening up more and more possible targets for Hunter Henry. We already know how thin the tight end position is in fantasy football. There's 3 solid ones that I think we can for sure count on, and that's Kelsey, Ertz, and Kittle. After that, jumbled mess. Hunter Henry could be a steal on draft day. Pay attention to him here in the offseason. Hopefully he's somebody that can get a little bit more volume. If Antonio Gates and Tyrell Williams both leave, he could be a steal for you come draft season. All right, last guy we're talking about, Delanie Walker of the Tennessee Titans. Probably, arguably, one of the most consistent tight ends in fantasy football up until last year when he got hurt, ended up going on IR with an ankle injury. But historically, before that, had been putting up great numbers. He had 4 straight seasons with 60 catches, 800 yards, and 100-plus targets. One of the favorite targets of Marcus Mariota. In fact, in the game that he played in, he had 7 targets in week 1 before he got hurt. He's definitely a solid piece of this offense. Does he come back? Is he 100% healthy? He's getting a little bit older, but if he's out there, he's good to go. Like I just mentioned with Hunter Henry, it's a very, very thin position once again at tight end. Delanie Walker, somebody who you could get there at the end, probably right around tight end 8, 9, 10 area, that could produce solid numbers for you. Let's make sure that he's good to go 100% and that his old man age, which is crazy because he's not even that old, he's football old. Let's make sure he's good to go 100% preseason before we jump all over the bandwagon of Delanie Walker, but he's definitely somebody who could provide some value for you during your fantasy football draft here in the next few months. All right, those are 6 pretty big names that we really need to follow here in the offseason. They missed the majority, if not all, of 2018, and they could provide some huge value for us here come 2019. I really appreciate you guys' support. If you have questions on another player, put it down below. I could have listed 15 players, but I'm not trying to make a 45-minute video here. Trying to get a lot of content really quick and try to give you these quick hitting videos. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate the support over here. Really building a positive community full of fantasy football, baseball enthusiasts, whatever it is, that's what we're building here. Really looking forward to talking to you guys more. If you're new to the channel, put a comment down below. I'd love to welcome you to Headliner Nation. It's been a lot of fun here the past couple years, and we are not stopping now. Gonna keep the ball rolling. Looking forward to talking to you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.